Okay, hello everyone. Today we are continuing with this. Um, we've got the Chinese characters laid out already. I want to add some shadows to the background, so I'm going to be darkening up some of these areas here. I'm also going to be intensifying the blue on some of the vase. Uh, and continuing with that. So we're continuing to make it as realistic as we can. Um, Now, because the background doesn't exactly reflect what I have in front of me, um, I do have to invent it a little bit, but I can also look at the surface in front of me and um, approximate it. I'm going to go ahead and start laying things in. Um, I've already put some paint on my palette here, and I'm going to be mixing some colors to get the colors I want. I use Payne's Gray a lot for shadows. I find that it's just a really nice translucent color that works well um, for doing shadow areas. So I don't want to make it too intense here. I mean, you can see that it is kind of dark back there. So what I can do is I can go ahead and modify it with a lighter color, um, and even use a little bit of the background color to get it where I want it to be. So you can just test out your color um, on the picture like that. Uh, it's not hard to wipe off or blend into other areas. So um, I'm going to also get some background color here going, and we will see what we can do here. All right. That's not too bad. Um, I want it kind of desaturated, so I'm going to add a little bit more Payne's Gray to it. But for a shadow color, that's not too bad. I want to try to continue to make the table horizontal. I can see that I've got it's not exactly right, so I will be tweaking that as I go to try to get this um, looking correct. Um, and again, you can just go ahead and block in where you see the shadow. Um, you'll notice with shadows that as they get further and further from the object, they'll get lighter and lighter until they approach the background color. Um, and so I'll be doing that as well. I may be also playing a little bit with warms and cools, because that'll give it some interest as well. All right. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and continue to mix in some lighter shades as I go here. I'm not completely committed to any color at the moment. I'm just kind of getting some color on, and we'll see how it looks. I'm feeling like it's very blue, um, and so I want to actually, I think I want to add a little bit of warm color to that. I'm going to grab a little bit of some burnt umber, just a touch, just enough to kind of warm it up just a smidge, and we'll try that, see what we think. All right. Okay. I can also play around with other warm colors. So for example, I use unbleached titanium a lot. It's good for when you don't want to go to pure white, but you know, it gives you just a touch of like a beige color to your work. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab a little bit of that. Okay. And when I'm going for adding oil, again, I don't use a whole lot. I'm just touching. When I'm getting oil, I'm just basically just touching the brush. I'm not dipping the brush in to get a lot of oil. Just want to get just enough to get it workable, but I don't want to saturate it. Okay. So I'm going to lift this up so you can see what I'm doing here. Again, because I added the unbleached titanium, it's going from being a very blue to being more of a neutral here, which is more of what I'm looking for. I want the blue of the vase to stand out, so you know, I'm going to go for more of a neutral in the background so the vase doesn't fade into the blue completely. So. I'm using kind of like an X stroke for my background. I'll be cleaning this up even a little bit more later on with a fan brush, but right now this is you know, just getting it smoothed on nice. I'm going to add some burnt umber to this area, just because I want it to be not quite as blue as it is right now. And if you look at my palette, which is just a waxed paper plate, you can see that I've kind of got this gradient going on. So I'll have the colors, but then I'll mix in between them to get the colors that I want. So you can easily do something like that. So applying this, it's a little bit more brown now. So. Again, that's the nice thing about oil paint, is it stays it stays workable for a very long time. So I'm actually blending this into the previous layer that I did a few minutes ago, and I no problem blending it in. It's going very, very easily. Whereas like with acrylic, you would it would already be dry and you wouldn't be able to do any kind of blending with it. So okay, so again, I'm just kind of just feathering it out into these upper areas here. I'm just going to kind of go around the vase just a little bit. I don't want to make a stark line between the vase and the background. I just want it to be kind of soft. So, okay. If I get any streaks from my brush strokes, I'll just feather it out as well. So, okay. So I've got kind of a shadow going on there. I'm going to go ahead and start using some lighter colors as I move into the other areas here. The brush I'm using is still fairly large. You know, I can go in with a smaller brush later on, but to just kind of do touch-ups, but right now this is fine. Just gradually working it to the edge. Because I've waited and the vase area is completely dry now, so I don't actually have to worry too much about you know, the colors in the vase moving or accidentally pulling them into what I'm working on right now. But so that's kind of why, another reason why you want to make sure that the background is completely, or the you know, one area is completely dry before you start working on another area. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue blending this in. All right. And again, I'm working into lighter areas, so the area over here is going to be darker, and as I move over into this area, it's going to be lighter. Kind of thinking about the atmospherics, how the light plays in this scene, because it's not just the vase we're painting the light as well, the atmosphere. And there'll be a little bit of shadow down here, but not very much, just enough to kind of give the indication of the table here. Now, again, I'm looking at how straight my line is, and so I can take a ruler and just kind of look at it a second and see where I need to fix this. All right, so it's not too bad off. I am going to just kind of come in a little bit. Okay. And I can fix the colors later on. Since I've got this here, I'm just going to go ahead and okay. So I've got that kind of done. All right. Any tweaks to that I can do later on. The background was feeling very blue, so I'm throwing in more of the unbleached titanium. And all the colors are in relation to each other. So even though you might have a color that looks very, very gray all by itself, when you put it next to another color, you'll see the differences in warm and cool when it's next to another color. Okay, so I've got this mostly covered with this base color. I'm going to go ahead and use my fan brush to blend everything a little bit. And when I'm using a fan brush, when I'm blending, I want to try to stay, I don't want to jump from the dark color to the light color and back again. I want to stay in the color range and kind of work through it so that I don't accidentally get colors from one area into another. So I'm just going to go ahead and make kind of like an X mark when I get close to the vase, I'm slowing down and being a little bit more careful. Okay. So again, I'm working around, trying to stay near the colors that I have on my brush. So. And as I go, my brush will pick up the darker colors over on this side, and so I can blend that down. If I feel like it, I can always deepen the shadow later on, but for now this is just fine. Okay, so I've got a basic background. I think I'm gonna wait to do the table later on. I want to darken some of the areas in the vase right now, so I'm going to go ahead and select a brush that will work for that. Since I'm working into some fine areas, I want to get a brush that's pretty tiny. And I'm going for pure blue right now. This is ultramarine blue. And I'm just going to look at the vase and see where I see the most intense dark blues here. So go ahead and just really intensify everything that I see. I don't want to paint over the characters yet, because I'll be using a different color for that, but at least with this way I can see where the intense color is going to be going. So. There will be some areas that I'll leave lighter because those will end up having some highlights and lighter reflections in them. But yeah, for these darker areas, I can just go ahead and do this. With reflections, a lot of times you'll have things, think about like a funhouse mirror. So you have your reflections in areas like this, they'll be long and distorted. You know, some other areas they might be, your reflection might be kind of squat, but you'll see continuations uh, of your reflections as you go down through your object. If you're doing a like a reflective object. And you can always, again, because we've, um, the area is already dry, you can simply go over and just kind of lighten, and you can see that the characters pop back out with just a little bit of, so you can do blending and stuff and not worry about whether or not the underlayers will be moving. I've got several layers of this blue on here already, so each layer, because this is a translucent blue, each layer just kind of builds on the previous one and just makes it a little bit more intense, which is what I'm going for. So. There are even darker blues that I could throw in here if I wanted to. I'm not quite at that point yet. I might do that at the very end, but for now, this will be fine. again, I really want it to feel like you can see the room, so I am actually painting the darks as I see them, which includes me and the easel in here. It doesn't make much sense yet, but it will eventually. And yeah, I am covering up the characters that I spent a lot of time working on previously, but that's but because I can see through the paint, I'll be able to go ahead and later on I can intensify those with the correct colors. So this is a long process. It's, you know, it's just the nature of what we've got going here. Oil painting does take a while if you're doing it this way, but I think the effects are worth it. So, teaching moment here. So I dropped my brush. I've got some paint on the canvas, and what I can do is I can go ahead, wipe it off as best as I can with a towel, and then I will get a clean brush, get a little bit of oil on it, okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit of scrubbing on it. And take my towel, find a clean area on it, and just wipe it off. So if you accidentally get paint where you don't want it, as long as the area underneath is dry, you can do something like that. Okay, so I think we're going to call it for today. I still need to do the final lines on all the characters, you know, make them look more like gold, because the what's on here already is just the initial lay-in for the characters. I still need to do the shelf and the shadow down here and all the highlights that I can see, but hopefully this was helpful. I'll continue this once this layer is dry, and I will talk to you later. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.